Hello, guys, what's up? This is the Organic Guy, and welcome to Organic View. This is, of course, the weekly segment that we created just for you so that we can be able to, have a better understanding of the contemporary world and what's happening around us, and trying to give it an organic perspective so that we can be able to have a better understanding and a better overview of what's going on. And of course, this week's topic is the topic that has been on the news throughout this year. It's those topics that you definitely were not in a position to be able to escape it, really, because it was all over the place, not unless, of course, you are living in North Korea or one of the 8 islands that are yet to report a coronavirus cases. But every one of us have been affected by the coronavirus in one way or another. Either that can be as a result of losing someone that you maybe know, or a friend that you know, to the coronavirus. Of course, it goes without saying we've lost over hundreds of thousands of people to the virus. And the virus has also devastated us in terms of the economic point of view. A lot of people have lost their jobs, their source of income, as well as a result of the virus. Governments have shut down business as a result of trying to contain the virus, and rightly so, I must say, in terms of trying to contain the virus and trying to make sure that healthcare systems are not being overrun at the same time. So, different areas, different sectors of the economy have been affected differently. As we all know, the hospitality industry has been affected heavily, but some other industries have been performing very well, especially the online industry, the online retail industry, such as Amazon, has been performing very, very well. And you can as well argue the organic sector has also been performing quite well, considering the situation of what's happening. So we can see that the global organic food sales rose 25 to 100% as a result of the coronavirus pandemic. So we're seeing this happen across different countries across the world. For example, in the United States, the Whole Foods Market, which is known as to be the world's largest natural food retailer, started actually to limit the number of orders that customers could make as a result of fear that other people will not be in a position to get their groceries, for example. Abel and Cole in the United Kingdom also reporting a 25% increase in their sales. Supermarkets in France also reporting that organic food stores saw an increase of over 40% demand for organic products. In India, for example, we saw demand for organic products going up to 100%. Okay, so for example, the New Delhi-based I Say Organic reported 100% surge for organic products. Naturally Yours, an India-based e-retailer, saying that they saw a 70 to 80% surge for organic products. Other retailers such as Suyan Organic, Modern Bazaar, Healthy Buddha, and Natural Land Organics also reporting a 25 to 30% increase for the demand of their products. So we could see that across the world, not just in one concentrated place, North America, in Europe, in Asia, seeing a huge demand for these particular products. Also in Africa, I must say, because I happen to run an e-commerce, Think Organic Kenya, which also saw a huge boost in sales as a result when the pandemic also began as well. So this was not a one-off thing happening since the virus broke out. We saw it happening in different parts of the world, and that leads us the question: why could this be happening as well? Because this is not the first time we have seen pandemics happen across the world. In 1990s, for example, we saw the mad cow disease in Britain, which caused a health crisis. That particular crisis led to people really demanding for organic meat products, and since then we have seen that the European market has been one of the largest markets for organic meat products. We saw the same thing happen in 2008, for example, when there was a melamine crisis back in China, and as a result of that crisis, we saw there was a huge demand for organic dairy products and organic baby products in India and in China. Sorry, and we have seen that status of China being the highest demand for organic dairy products and organic baby products retained for that period of time. So then the question remains, which country is going to be next? Which country will be able to maintain the habits that have been formed during this particular period, and moving forward will become a market leader in a particular segment of organic products? And I will assume in this particular area it will be fresh products segment, that a particular country will be able to maintain that status moving forward. And will that be North America? Will that be Asia? Will that be Africa? Will that be South America? We will have to wait and see. But suddenly, a particular development of a crisis, especially a healthy crisis, leads to the development of a particular sector in the organic industry. So for that sector, we have to wait and see. But we've seen this particular increase of demand for organic products. The other question that we have to ask, what is exactly causing this particular drive for organic products as well? Well, result of COVID-19, of course, I've seen, or we all do know, that it tends to affect heavily people with a compromised immune system, and most consumers are seeing an awareness, being made aware of the relationship between their nutrition and health. For example, we see data from the AI-powered intelligence startup, that is TestWise, which reported that people were searching for the word immunity 27% more than they were searching for the previous years. So meaning people were looking for alternatives, were looking for ways that they can be able to boost their immune system. And ladies and gentlemen, surprise, surprise, organic food products are one of the ways that you can be able to improve your immune system and improve your immune system, as well as it's a great alternative for you to be able to get your nutrients from organic food products being at the top of that list. For example, we do know when we have such a kind of health scares, consumer obviously tend to look for disease prevention and improvement of nutrition. Organic sales will obviously be boosted as a result of such a move. Organic food products famously do not use synthetic pesticides or agrochemicals. As a result, consumers are always going to look for such a kind of products, and organic products will always be heads and shoulders above any other products in terms of those characteristics. So whenever there is a health crisis, whenever there is a health problem and a health outbreak, there is going to be an option. That option will always be organic, as a result of the trust of the brand and what the organic seal and what the organic brand stands for. Well, even before the pandemic, we can see that the Organic Trade Association had already seen a great demand or a great rise for the organic industry in 2019. The Organic Trade Association is an association in North America that organizes businesses and tries to give a market overview to businesses across the North America. And as we know, the United States is one of the biggest market for organic products. And even before the pandemic, they had seen a huge rise of organic products For example, here we are seeing that the organic sector was growing at 4.6% for organic products, and for non-organic products it was growing up to 9.2%. When you compare that with the conventional product that is growing at a percentage of 2 to 3%, you see that the urge and the need for organic products was there, and sort of the pandemic was sort of the trigger, so that the push that people needed for them to be able to buy and continue buying these particular products. For consumers who were not really into buying or looking for healthy alternative, or didn't have the time, or were not aware of the kind of alternative healthy products they could have, the pandemic sort of made them be aware of such a food products. And one of the ways and one of the areas that you have to look for is, of course, organic products. Organic products benefiting heavily from this change of behaviors. And ladies and gentlemen, don't think that this will stop happening anytime soon. It will continue to happen because of the principles, because of the underlying principles that guide the organic sector. Okay, so consumers are eating more organic foods, are using more organic products than ever. And according to this 2020 organic survey, the US market boasted a total of 55 billion US dollars, which was an increase of up to 5% of the previous year. So why would people during this particular kind of pandemic be actually looking for organic products? So for us to be able to understand, we have to know what are some of the risk factors, or what are some of the things that make the people who are infected by the coronavirus really vulnerable to this particular kind of a disease. So for example, we do see, this is the data that we have from the Canada Public Health. So we can see people, older people, especially for people who are above 60 years, tend to have a higher likely to be exposed to the virus and to be highly affected by this particular virus. And we also know that people who have pre-existing conditions such as lung disease, heart disease, hypertension, diabetes, kidney diseases will have a higher likelihood of being contacted by these particular viruses. And people, especially people who are immunocompromised, so these are people with underlying medical conditions, for example cancer, or taking medications that tend to lower the immune systems. So people who are in chemotherapy, for example, people with obesity also tend to be highly affected by this particular virus. So meaning the ability to be able to take care of your immune system plays a critical important in terms of preventing this particular virus. Once you get it, that your immune system can be in a better position to fight this particular virus. And of course, the older you grow, the more likely that the virus will have more impact in for your body. So for example, here we see that 95% of Americans that were killed by the COVID-19 virus were 50 or older. So why is this important? We see, for example, from these statistics, we see that up to only 2.9% of people who are above 80 years old were infected by this particular virus, but has the highest number of deaths, that is at 32%. So highly effective for older people. So is there a connection between being older and having a weaker immune system? So this is what the doctor from Harvard had to say. Of course, another explanation is that the immune function. The immune system naturally weakens with age, making older adults more susceptible to infections and less capable of fighting them off. So every organic system changes. Our lungs don't have a good ventilation and clearing capacity. Our kidneys don't function quite as well when we are older. our liver don't function quite as well. And so once we get sick with COVID, we don't have those layers and layers of resiliency that we do as a young person. So we see another important factor in this particular COVID area is our immune system. And that begs the questions, why are we not emphasizing on this particular area of a disease, right? So, what are some of the ways that we can be able to improve our immune system? As the great Peter Mukaya says, how can we be able to improve our inner mask, for example? So, here is Dr. Darling from Cleveland Clinic giving us some of the tips really that can help us sort of improve and boost our immune system. So remember, people are flocking to buying organic products for a reason. Okay, first of all, because we know that the virus tends to have severe effects, severe consequences for people who are immunocompromised, and so consumers are looking for products that will be able to help them have a better immune systems in the long run. So that's why people are sort of cloaking or moving or looking for organic products to be able to be in a position to purchase this particular kind of products. So Dr. Darling gives a very, very simple advice that I think will be applicable to all of us. All you have to do is really find ways to be able to make your immune system active, okay? Make your immune system to be more resilient. So here's what he says. He believes that in the power of immune boosting foods. So choosing whole unprocessed foods does wholesome to overall health. So here's what he says. Probiotics, so robust gut bacteria protects us against infection. Keep those bacteria healthy with probiotics that may contain fiber, especially inulin fiber. And vitamin C rich foods will also do a great boost for your immune systems. Antioxidants, also play a very, very critical and huge role for your immune system as well. So I don't know if you guys remember, but there was a report that was written that shows up to 40% organic foods containing up to 40% more antioxidants to their conventional counterparts, but most scientists dismissed those reports of organic foods having higher antibiotics as not really making a huge difference. But this shows that this happened that antioxidants are actually very, very important for our health systems. So the doctor also gives very, very great tips as well. Of course, having enough sleep is a good way to do it. Meditations as well. Exercising, okay? Exercising increases your resilience so you can fight off infections. Our bodies function better when we're physically active every day. So he recommends 10 minutes a day, or ideally 30 minutes, going to a mixture of cardio and strength training. And also he recommends having a very, very good attitude is also a very, very important to improving your immune system. So the doctor clearly starts by food, okay? As we know, the old saying of you are what you eat. And indeed, the food that you actually tend to use does make a huge difference. So I don't know if you guys remember, we have had several studies showing how organic produce does have a great concurrent or a great effect for your immune systems. For example, this study published in nature.com actually showed that, and I quote, eating organic food products could boost a person's antioxidant intake of up to 40%. That's the equivalent of 2 portions of fruit or vegetables a day. This could be meaningful benefit to human nutrition, the authors wrote, because antioxidants have been linked to our risk of chronic diseases, including certain cancers. So this is a report showing how much organic food products can contribute to a diet of up to 40% of antioxidant, which we've seen earlier that has a very, very great um, input to your immune system, which scientists said really doesn't try to make a difference at all. But we've seen here antioxidants play a very, very and critical important role to our immune systems. So, what else did these guys actually find? Researchers, of course, found organic produce contains lower amount of pesticides and lower amount of concentration of cadmium amines that can build up in the body through repeated exposure and become toxic. Okay, no surprise there. And they also found that phenolic acids, flavonols were 19, 69, and 50% higher, respectively, in organic produce than conventional counterparts. So these are some of the small but significant impacts that organic foods have, but are not as well as emphasized as it could be done. This is some of the things that scientists sort of say, you know what, it doesn't make a huge of a difference. Now it turns out it does actually make a huge difference moving forward. So how does this affect the organic movement moving forward? For example, will this demand be able to hold up in the long run, or will it just fade away when the COVID is sort of under control and people just get around it and forget about everything that they have gone throughout this year as a result of the COVID? Will the demand be able to hold up? Will it be able to continue over the long run? Of course, these are some of the questions that we have to be able to ask and see if it will have such a kind of a long-term effect. I too tend to believe that it will, of course, have such a long-term effect. Doesn't have to maintain it at 100%, but there will be a shift in habits for most people. Okay, so for years to come, we'll always continue to remember 2020, the year that gave us COVID and sort of shifted on the way we act and the way we interact with people and how we are supposed to work. Okay, most of us have been working from home, so those are some of the habit shifts that most people are going to adjust and moving forward. So as we look back, how have the past pandemics affected organic in moving forward? So for example, you saw me very much mention the early health crises that we had in the world before. So for example, we saw the melanin scandal in China, which led to a huge demand for organic baby products and dairy products in 2008, right? Well, guess what? The scandal led to many dairy farms to invest in organic production practices, which now makes China the largest market for organic dairy products. In Asia, also the largest market for organic infant formula in the world. Similar developments, we also saw them during the mad cow disease in the 1990s, which saw, of course, higher consumer demand for organic products in the UK and also in the European Union, which also led to some considerable investments in organic meat productions. So within few years, Europe had the largest market for organic meat products in the world, which also saw the demand for organic meats being sustained for that particular period of time. So we do see that there is an effect of demand for organic products in every health crisis, and as such, we do see a contained and a sustained demand for organic products over the long term. So the question remains here: which kind will the organic sector, will this pandemic have a long-term effect, a long-term sustained demand for organic food products? And my answer tends to be yes, we will be able to see a long-term and sustained demand for organic products moving in the long run. And this is mainly because COVID, we have to learn to live with COVID. COVID is not going to go away as we would like to. We have to be able to learn to live with it. And that is an adjustment, that will be an awareness that we're able to create in us on the importance of eating healthy. And as a result, one of the ways, one of the areas, one of the industries that can offer such an assurance of eating healthy and nutritious food products is the organic sector. Putting in the relatively younger age of people that have been infected, we will continue to see the rise, we will continue to see the overall expanding of the organic market as we move forward. So, what do you think? Will this particular demand be sustained over the long run? I would like to hear what you say, of course. Make sure that you can leave your comment and leave your thoughts on the comments, and we will continue to interact on this particular conversation. So, ladies and gentlemen, as usual, be sure to give a review to this particular podcast, and of course share with someone that you think might be interested in this particular content. So, ladies and gentlemen, moving forward and without further ado, remember to be organic. Cheers.